So as we'll see, the common denominator, all these questions are basically food that are fully cooked. It's warm, there's no question of bishul, but it's not on the fire. Either you put the pot on the table, or there was no fire in the first place, or the fire went out. But basically we're talking about food that's fully cooked, that's off, that's not on a fire. Is it mutter to put it onto someone else's fire, put it into an oven? Now I want to make a very, very important disclaimer. Say the story, someone hears this out the Rav, Shaila about the Shalom, moving the Shalom on Shabbos. So the Rav answered, the base to Chalein as the spielt nicht with fire. Shabbos, you're playing with fire. Today we're not playing with fire. We're talking about every single case that's fully cooked. There's Bishul called Sorkei, and more so, it's still warm. The only shaila is to take the food and put it onto a different fire. Now, what we need is really one, there are ways is one yisoid. What's part of the problem? Assuming you have a hot pot of chocolate on the fire, but there's no fire. What's wrong with taking the hot pot of chocolate that's still warm and putting it onto a neighbor's blech, assuming within a neighbor, of course? What's wrong with taking a pot of chocolate you put on the table by mistake? Right now, you put the chocolate instead of the soup. You put it down, you let go of it. Fine. But what's wrong with taking the chocolate pot and putting it back on the fire? To call a goy to light the new fire, that's a problem. Mir la'akum, lighting a fire is a their ice. But what's wrong with taking a pot of food that's fully cooked and putting it back on the fire? So this we all know is the issa of chazorah. Now basically chazorah means, I guess, kemashmoi. If there was food on the fire when Shabbos came, you took it off and you put it down and you weren't planning on putting it back. So food that was on the fire when Shabbos came, now it's off the fire. Putting the food back onto the fire is not bishul. Why? Because it's fully cooked. Ein bishul acha bishul. But it's merzik in the fashel. That's what most Rishonim learn. Taking food that's off the fire, off the blech, and putting it back onto the blech very closely resembles bishul. And Chazal were very concerned. We have to be showing the Shabbos, we have to protect the Shabbos. It looks like you're doing bishul. So Chazal said, even though it's not bishul, because it's bishul acha bishul, but it's merzik in the fashel, and we don't put food back onto the fire on Shabbos. Grab the Tosfos and other Rishonim learn the Issa is not al merzik in the fashel, it's al shem yichata. But to make a long story short, there are two different shilas when you're dealing with hot food on Shabbos. Number one, is it bishul? If it's not fully cooked, it's bishul. But our sugya today is not shin yud chesel, it's bishul. Our sugya is reish and gimel, chazor, putting back on the fire, als merzik in mavashel. And although it's only the Rabbanan, but you'll see when you learn halacha, it's more chamor than bishul. Because bishul, that someone did bishul, according to the Vilna Gaon, you can have on Shabbos. But when it comes to chazara, because it's only the Rabbanan and needs protection, we're more machmadasi even b'di'ah. So here we see that if something is not cooked, it's bishul. If something is fully cooked, to put it back on the fire is merzik, mevashel, as this is the Rabbanan. One more point we have to clarify, so 1 second. Ma'aseh b'chol Shabbos. For those of you that still use the old-fashioned the kettle, a chaynik, so you take the chaynik, the kettle off the fire, you pour water into your cup, and you put back the kettle. Why is that mutter? Why is that chazar? Or those that have Friday night shalom, how do you put it back? So this is the site for today. It's in Gemara Shabbos on the Chesed Beis. That taka chazar is also. But if there are certain conditions, it's mutter. Zog the Gemara leishanu ela oidam biyadai. Ava nichla gavi karka asa. If you took food off the fire and you're still holding it in your hand and you didn't put it on the ground, you're allowed to put it back. So there's the chiluk. To take food from the refrigerator, cold chicken, and put it onto the blech, there's no bishul because the chicken is fully cooked. But this is merzik mavashel. wasn't like to the other, he was in the refrigerator. That's chazar, that's our sugi. But let's say the case of the kettle or the cholent, you took it off the fire, that's true, but it's oil to the other, it's in your hand. You didn't put it down, then you're allowed to put it back. In fact, the Gemara adds a baya shita, there's another precondition, it has to be daite lagzor. You took it off the fire, you took the kettle off the fire, but you want to put it back, you want to have more hot water. You took the cholent off the fire because you want to put it back. When you have these three preconditions, daite lagzor, oil to the other, and not on karka, it's mutter. Now, why is it mutter? Because since you have gas, oil to the other, it's still connected to the fire. If it's still connected to the fire, it's not chazar. It's not mersik levashel. It's like it's on the fire. So basically, to reduce it to a simple yisod, whenever you want to do anything with food on Shabbos, there are two independent questions you have to ask yourself. Number one, is it bishul? It's bishul to the rice. And even if it's fully cooked and it's still hot, there's no bishul, make sure it's not mersik levashel. Now let's learn the Shulchan Aruch. Like they say in America, savor the flavor of every word of the Mechaber and Ramah is so meduik. In Reish Nun Gimel Seed Beis, the Mechaber says, Kira sheikrufu ketuma. You have a fire that has a blech. We'll soon see, of course, you have to have a blech to do anything on Shabbos. You took the chinik off the fire, off the blech. Mutalach zero. You could put back the chinik, you could put back the cholent pot. Why? Kolzman shehiroi seches. It has to still be warm. Because if it cools off, then it's a question of bishul. And it's also mersik levashel. Now here's interesting. The Ramah, before the Mechaber continues, the Ramah sticks in ba'ay to be other. It has to be in your hand, which we understand is the Gemara. It has to be a blech, oy to be other, and then the Mechaber says v'yanicha al gabi karka. You didn't put it on the ground. So it's very modern. Usually the Mechaber talks, and the Ramah makes his comment. Why did the Ramah preempt and stick in oy to be other before the Mechaber says v'yanicha al gabi karka? And also, if it's not a karka, it's oil to the other. We'll get back to that. And then the Ramah is, not the Mechaber, the daite lagzor, which is a baya sheet, you have to have daite lagzor. Many, many years ago, still a bacha, you heard Chaburs of the Mechaber of the Klol of Shabbos, so he gave us a way to remember it, and you see, I still remember it decades later, to remember the preconditions for Chazar. As long as you know the Aleph base, from base to low. Base, Gimel, Dalet, Heva. I guess Aleph, you don't start with like in Shas, start from base. But base is blech. Now this is bilingual, but it works. Base is blech. Gimel is gikoch. It's fully cooked. Dalet is daitoi lachzor. That's the Gemara. Hey is hand. It's still in your hand. And Vav, it's still varm. Now I'll try to make an English one. B, C, D, H, W. So forget about it. But Beis Gimel Dalet Hey Vav, and that's the Yisod. So let's just chazro and we'll go to the myriad of shaykes. Basically, it's a checklist of two questions. Is it bishul? That's awesome. If not, mersik levashel. What determines mersik levashel? So it's basically the Beis Gimel Dalet Hey Vav, but it's really not on the ground, das, and beyond. Now let's start with the Ma'aseh Shehaya. I can come out all these things happening, except maybe the last one. Ma'aseh Shehaya, someone Friday night wanted to check the cholent, see how I was doing. It was an early Shabbos, and they came away from work, and they put up the cholent right before his mom. He wanted to check the cholent, and he picked up the cover, didn't touch the pot, and looked at the pot, and you could see some of the cholent was still not fully cooked. It was still basically raw, the top of it. So what did he do? He put the cover back. No time that tonight, because he can't take food from a cholent that's raw. Did he do the right or wrong? So he was perfectly right, he said. Because I didn't touch the pot, no chazar, and the cover is going to the other. So it's not mersik levashel. So he's 100% right. It's not mersik levashel, but it's much worse. It's bishul mamish. Because when covering a food that's not cooked is mamar bishula. So he forgot the checklist. It's talking not mersik levashel, but it's the real McCoy. And I have to declare if the food is also even with the other. Like the Shulchan Aruch, the food is also the diya, but the goyin is mekel by Yishayim. But basically, it shouldn't happen. There's no room for ignorance, but Allah is so clear. Ma'aseh Shahaya, another shara, true story. It was Yom Tiv Shechal b'Shabbos. Shabbos, Yom Tov Shabbos and Sunday. So many people have the minhag and they have the Suda Shabbos, then they bench, go to Mincha, and they come back for Shalosh Shabbos. This family fell a little late, and were having the Suda Shabbos, is to bring out the cholent. So one child went to bring out the cholent, and then someone says, no, it's very late, we can't have cholent, it's too late. Put the cholent back, we'll bench, we'll come back for Shalosh Shabbos, we'll have cholent for Shalosh Shabbos. Someone else says, what are you doing? In this family, when the cholent comes to the table, it doesn't get back to the blech. When you have teenage boys, there's no leftovers. So it was not Daita Lazar. Right? He took it off the cholent, he ate the cholent, right then and there. It's not going back to the blech. So how do you put it back to the blech now? But then again, it was going to be other, it was in his hand. So now the question is, you have 4 out of 5, is it enough? So the emphasis in Svara, we could suggest that other to be other is very important. If it's other to be other, it's not enough to be mabash. But Daita Lazar, who knows what's doing in your mind? Maybe we could be mekel if it's not, even if it's not Daita Lazar. The Gemara says Abaye says Daita Lazar. Precisely. If only Abaye added it, maybe the other sheet is whole. It's not necessary. More so in the Yishalmi that mentions Karka, Oidabiyode doesn't even mention Daita Lazar. And if so, maybe we could suggest that if you don't have Daita Lazar, it's not Ma'akuv B'diyad. And we can add to all this, since it's a suffix at least, maybe Sveikid Rabban L'Kula. So if it's on the ground, it's too late. But if it's only missing Daita Lazar, maybe it can be made. However, the Torah narration of Gimel says if it's not Daita Lazar, it's also even B'diyad. Zok the Beis Yosef, Sveikid D'Raisa L'Chumra. It's only a suffix Rabban. But since it's carved over the Issa Torah, because again, Hazar is protecting the Heilig Shabbos, we don't play games. So even though it's a suffix Rabban, we have to be machmir. If you look at the Rosh on this Gemara, Chumra de Shabbos Chashiva K'Shel Torah. We have to sit from Shabbos when Moshe Kayadua his approach to Shabbos with a pachat. Shabbos is Shabbos. So here we see an interesting thing. If you don't have das, according to the Torah, it's awesome, even though we could say Sveikid Rabban. You look at the Machaber, Reish Nun Gimel Beis, he doesn't mention Daita Lazar. Zok the Goyim, because the Machaber holds you don't need Daita Lazar. He goes with the Yishalmi, and you don't pass like a buyer. But the Ramah does add, like I told you earlier, the Daita Lazar. So probably, it's like we explained in the Torah. Even though it's a suffix to Rabbanan, when you're talking about a very serious issue. So our Shaila, that there was Oid to be other, they had shown the hand, but it was not Daita Lazar, according to the Machaber, Kasvar, and his Mutter, for the Ramah is us. Zok the Mishnah, and the involvement of the Allah as well, because the Nishlam and Zayin, the base also says this, but the Shasat Chag, you could rely on the Shittis that without Daita Lazar, it's Mutter. So in our case, assuming they had nothing else to eat, it was essential for Einik Shabbos, again, if there's other foods, you can live without it, or if you can leave it off the blech and it won't be so hot, it's also good, but let's say they need it, but for Einik Shabbos, there's guests, they're embarrassed, whatever it is, there's a tzad to be mekel, even if it was not Daita Lazar. We had a character shire. It was a 3-day Yom Tov, like we're having a bowling of the Torah. And Friday night, the mother fed the child, was giving the child to eat. And Pashit confused Shabbos and Yom Tov. Took the pot off the fire, served the child, put it down on the countertop, and I'll put it back later. Daita Lazar, but it wasn't going to be on. It's Friday night. What did I do? I put it down. So this is about character shine. This is Daita Lazar, but not going to be on. So the Bialacha says the Ma'aser is still a tzad to be mekel because there was das lachzer, but it's not as simple. Because once you let go of it, it's not in your hand, it's mefzik in the bash. And the Mishnah Berurah paskin ye'eis soirech yesh lismoich, but we'll soon see not if you put it on the ground. Because from the ground to the fire is mefzik in the bash of the cholades. We'll soon see on the counter, you put on the counter and then put it back on the plech. The shas at chak you can make one without diyah. So there you have two common cases. If you didn't have das, biyodeh, or you had das, it's not biyodeh, there is a tzad to be made. The next question I want to clarify because it's very negative. The Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch speaks about putting it on the ground. The question is, what about today? No one puts it on the ground. You put it on a countertop, you put it on a dining room table, you put it on a refrigerator. What's the point about ground? So the pashut the hezbollah is, when you put food on the ground, that's a complete disconnect. You put it on the ground, it's not going back to the fire. That is no longer gabi eish. To take it from the ground and put it on the eish, that's mefzik b'mashal. The question is today, we use a countertop. No one puts on the ground. Is a countertop a disconnect like the ground? Is a dining room table a disconnect like the ground? So let me make a little more gishmak. If you take a hot chocolate, you stir it a little bit, and you put it in the refrigerator, that is mamish like karka. Because you put it in the refrigerator, you're not putting it back on the plate. Right? Or, perhaps more pashut, you serve someone an individual portion of rice, chocolate, and kugel. And the person says, I don't like kugel, put it back on the plate, let someone else have it. To take from someone's plate and is not daikil lachza on the fire. That I understand. Someone else's plate or refrigerator is like karka. Complete disconnect. The question is, at a dining room table or a countertop, is that something in between? Is there an in-between status? So this is an excellent question. You know, we asked this question to Gemara. The same Gemara that we mentioned on the Chesed Beis, after the Gemara says you have to have oy to biyador and oy to buy a guy to lachzor, boyer aliyamiyah, tolim b'mako, you put the pot on a stick, or in ichan agabi mita, put it on a bed or a kisei, on a chair. Mahu. Do we say it's like karka, because off the fire, or maybe no, only karka, which is an extreme disconnect, but maybe mita is like oy to biyador. You hear that? Maybe it's only karka, but meat is good. Look, if meat is good, maybe count is good. So what's the word of sak? Teiku. Now, teiku, but let's see we're familiar with. What do you do with teiku in Hilchos Shabbos? So here we see an interesting thing. We would think, Safik is the Rabbanan, can be mekel. But the Torah is machma. And I think it's mamash l'shitas. Just like he's machma in the previous shayla that we mentioned, regarding daitoi, because Lamaisa Shabbos is chamor or karvel de nichshol, so he was machmir on Shabbos. So the same Torah is machmir when it comes to kisei or mita. And Dr. Bez Yosef Kamat said that the fetish. And Reza Pella, beautiful as she tosses it. In Shulchan Aruch, the Mechaba says he put it on the ground, it's on karka is awesome, and doesn't mention anything else. So I see again a shitasa. The machaba that was made earlier regarding daikil lachzor, because he helps make it Rabbanan Kula, he's making with karka. With kisei. Now Reza Pella. Before the machaba could say the words Inicha Gabi Karka, the Ramah added V'oy de biyodeh. Zok the Avram. Beautiful. Because the Mechaba holds it's only karka that's also he's makel with meat and kisei. The Ramah is machmir. Not enough, not karka. It has to be oy to biyodeh. And here we also see on the Shitase. The Ramah that's machmir regarding daikil lachzor on Shabbos, you don't play games. Mishpil nishmat fire. He's also machmir regarding anything, even not karka, it has to be oy to be like. So you see, she does say of the Mechaba, Ramam, and the Tur. But what's really beautiful is the Mr. Brewer, the Sharatzian, said, the Maisa, Mita, and Kisa, like the Ramaz Muta, is asa, but the Shas Hadchat is something beside Mecham. So let's chazir over. When someone put on the ground, karka, l'chol deis is asa. That's disconnect. Mita Kisei is machlokes Mechab Ramah. The question is, what about a countertop of today? Now, in Shulchan Aruch, in Gemara's time, they didn't have countertops. So, understandably, they didn't have the shayla. But the Metzias is, it's not karka. The countertops are used today either to put food down to serve from it, and then put it back maybe, or you put it down as a final destination. So I saw many makilim, Rabbi Zalman, Rabbi Yashiv is called the Sefer Aruch Shabbos, that hold the countertop is not karka, it's like mita or kisei. Rav Vosner, and it's true in the back of Aruch Shabbos, Tafkuf Tezayin, he considered countertop to be like karka, but if the Chacham is more mistaber that a countertop is like a mita and kisei, and therefore what? So I'll tell you therefore what. According to the Mechaba, the Sfarad of the Chayra, you can put it on the countertop and then put it back on the blech. But for us that go beyond Ramah, we pass it like Ramah. What's the nafkamina? A beautiful nafkamina. If, let's say, this case, the woman made a mistake between Shabbos and Yom Tov B'Kitzah, she put the pot onto the countertop. But onto the countertop. Is it mutter to put it back onto the blech if the food is fully cooked and it's still warm, it's still warm? So that the Sharatzian says, Mr. Brewer says, B'shas Hadchat can be makel with das, if it's not al gabi karka, if it's al kisei. What's the contemporary kisei of today? Countertop. So our shayla mamish would be this Mr. Brewer, the Sharatzian, and as long as it was daily lavza, you could put it back. Now the dining room table, is it like karka? Again, if some people in their house, nothing goes back to the blech, then it could be like karka. If it's only used to serve and that's it, then it'll be like karka. If occasionally you put back food to the blech, that might be like mita or a kisei. As we said earlier, I saw talking to Chut Hashani in Chav Zayin Aleph, Rabbi Zalman Amar Shabbos says, if you put it on someone's individual plate, that certainly is like karka, and it's not, you can't put it back to the fire. Now someone told me, I must have made a mistake, but he said in his family they put food not on the countertop directly, they put first a trivet, like a little wood piece, and a jolt on top of that, and then you ought to put it back to the blech. Now, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. You know, it's not the issue of the gia, because it touches the countertop, it's because you put it down. Now, if it's not only to be other, who cares that there's a trivet? The only thing a trivet helps, from my knowledge, is that it doesn't burn the countertop. You know, the hot pot doesn't burn the countertop. But putting down something to be mafsik does not remove the issue. Next question is a tremendous yisoid, which is a mitzvah mefarsim, because again, it's a heta in many situations. Assuming someone was very extreme, he took the jon pot and took it off and put it onto the karka. Ve'ein daitoi lachzor. That's it. He's finished jon, he took the jon. The worst scenario, and put it on the ground. Ve'ein daitoi lachzor. Then he changed his mind. That's it. He decided he wants to put it back on the blood. Is there any head? So Rabbi, you don't change your mind on halacha. There's accountability. But there is a Ran. The Ran is one of the early Rishonim. On that same Gemara in Shabbos, it's Yuzayin and the Beis and Daf Yarich, the Maskul Biyu, where the Ran says a tremendous kula. But the Ran had the place to say this. When is there an Issa Chazara on Shabbos across the board? If when Shabbos came, it was not on the fire. For example, you cooked the shell on Friday and you put it back in the refrigerator, or you left it out. But when Shabbos came, it was not on the blech. Now on Shabbos, even if it's this Bishul called tzar, and even if it's fully warm, you can't put it back on the fire. That's chazara. But let's say when Shabbos came, the food was on the blech. Then you took it off, zupped around the farish, even if you put it on the ground. Ve'ein daite lachzor, you're allowed to put it back. Now, evidently the Ran held, since when Shabbos came was on the blech, it was connected. There is no disconnect. The only problem mevzi is when it was on the blech at all. This is the shita of the Ran. The Beis Yosef says double pashut that Tosfos disagrees with this Ran. Okay, so the Rishonim could argue. How do we paskin? So understand that Mechaber doesn't mention the Ran because Mechaber says Tosfos halt nicht does it. But the Ramon Darkei Moshe, the Darkei B'Kodesh, who was very faithful to Minig Yisrael, Rabbi Mehagim Lahakol Kedivrei Harab. Many people are making like the Ran. In the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch, he does not endorse the Ran, but V'chein Mehagim Lahakol, V'sloimchen Atzman Al Divrei HaMakilim, B'toy Lahachman. So here the Ramah says the belt is Megul, but I think you should be Machmir, mit B'Makim She'ein Tzoyrech Kolka. And the Poskim are quick to add that Mamaisa B'Shasat Chag, the Ramah does sanction the Minig HaMakim, Minig HaOlam, that B'Shasat Chag, if the food was on the fire when Shabbos came, even if you took it off entirely, Karka, Ein Daite Lachzor, you're allowed to put it back on the lech. Now, if you never heard of it, so you can make a Shechiyanu, but this is the Ramah Shita. And the Poskim say clearly, L'chatchila avadu v'natzayvachan. Svardim can't be sayvachan the Ran. But for the Ramah Shita, if b'shas chag it was on the fire when Shabbos came, you're allowed to put it back. Even if there are no preconditions. Of course, it has to be fully cooked and varm. That's Bishul. Now, I always wonder, what does it mean when Shabbos came? Is it totally Shkia? And Bereshmosh it says, if you look at the Lashon of the Ran says, Mishachashecha. Probably it's totally in Teisach Yechov. In fact, we just saw the other day, the Meganis of the Yod, the Rav in Belgium, the Chelik Aleph, Ayin Gimel. It says it's totally in Teisach Yechov. So when someone had cholent or any food on the fire, Teisach Yechovim, night, Shabbos, you're allowed to put it back without the preconditions of Chazor, the Shasat Chag. We had a Shaila, it was Leil Shabbos. Someone took off the pot off the fire, put it down, no dust in Chayza, and was so panicky, put it back on the fire. Now the question is, can you have enough of the food? It was this Chazor. So I saw Rav Osna has this Shaila, and he says, B'di'evet, you can rely on the Ran. So you can't ask for the food B'di'evet if like the Ran is what to do. Consider the next question that happens quite often. A person made a blech, everything was fine and boiled. Friday night, someone opened the window, or someone walked by, or someone moved the cholent pot. The flame of the gas range was extinguished. So now he has a blech, piping hot food, fully cooked, but there's no fire. Now, if you leave it until tomorrow afternoon, it'll probably get spoiled, but the zipper won't be hot. Can you quickly take the cholent and put it into a neighbor or a tenant's onto his blech? He has room on his blech. Pick up the cholent and put it onto someone else's blech. I will say, but the other fire is a much bigger flame. It's hotter. So what? Once it's Bishul, ain't Bishul Acha Bishul. Mr. Brisk, see the cut inside my face, the varish. You'll have to put it on a bigger flame as long as the conditions of Chazar are met. But wait a second. What do you mean the conditions of Chazar are met? You have no fire. It looks good, officially. You have food on the blech. You're very religious. But there's no fire. You take it from a no fire to a fire. Why is that the Yisrael Rabban Chazar? And I'll tell you another shayla. Someone had the shayla, he had cholent in the crock pot, and the plug was disconnected. So again, he has cholent that's fully cooked without a fire. So you want to know, can he pick up the insert, the actual cholent itself, and put it onto his own gas range? He already ate Friday night, he has room on the fire. Can he put from the heating element onto the blech? So l'chayra, this is a real chazar. From a no age to an age. It's on the blech, but who are you fooling? It's a blech without a fire. It's like some people, they close the oven before Shabbos. The food's in the oven, they want to take it from the oven and put it onto the gas range on Shabbos. That's going from a non-H to an H. But the question is allocate the Shas Chag. If he doesn't do something with the jug, it's going to get spoiled. It's going to put it in the refrigerator. So here, Rabbi said we have the Ran. The Ran that says that as long as when Shabbos came, which in this case it was, the food was on the fire. Now, even though Shabbos there was a total disconnect, you'll have to put it back on the fire. So if someone feels he has nothing else to eat Shabbos day, or he's having the Orchev and then the wife's embarrassed to serve cold jog, that to me is enough. Shas Chag and Taka, you can rely on this Ran. Shmir Shabbos and Aleph Chav Zayin has this very psak. When Moshe, in Cheder Dal, Ayin Dal, Amches, is makel without the Ran. He says, you didn't put out the fire, you don't want it to be off the fire. So it's enough of a hazard to put it, take the cholm, if it's fully cooked, again, it's still warm, and put it onto someone else's blech. Now I want to ask you another horror, but I warn you this negate to probably tens of shaylas. Let me suggest perhaps a new tzad to be makel in this shayla and many, many other shaylas. And here's the question. Basically, the halacha is, if food was disconnected from the blech, from the fire, you took, again, in a perfect scenario, you took the chocolate off the fire and put it on the ground, carpet. It's awesome. How do you understand this issa of carpet? Is the pshat simple? The only time you're allowed to put something back to the fire is if it's still connected to the fire. If you took it off the fire and put it down, so it's down. If it's down, it's not connected to the fire. You need a connection to the fire. If you put it down, the Ein Dai Tolaz is not connected. So simple. You have to have some shine. I'll give you I use a childish term. The fire is like the base. If you connected the base, you're still good. Once you took it off, it's off. Or maybe it's a little more. You decided to take it off the fire. You disconnected it from the fire. You severed the connection to the fire. Your conscious decision, your hesachadas, to put it down. Which of the two slurs are true? What's the nafkamina? Okay. This case. This case, there's no fire. So, it's not connected to the fire. It's not touching base. But you didn't take it off. You didn't disconnect. You are Masiyah Taz. And Re'ez Apel, Hashem Zalman, in the Shmir Shabbos, and Ayin Aleph, or an Ayin test, has this question. The fire went out, and he said you're allowed to move it without the Ran. Why? Because you didn't take it off. There was no Hesachadas. He says, the issa is if you put it on the ground, v'asa ma'isa, and then there's a Hesachadas. He said it's like the chunk falls off the blech. You're allowed to put it back. Oh, it's a chiddush, that's what he said. So he's understanding that the issa is you took it off consciously with das to disconnect it. And he bears it to Hilchos Tzitzis, Ayin Sham. But what he's saying is, if you didn't disconnect it, it's awesome. So in our case, if the fire went out, he's not Masiyah Das with the Sholem. You'll have to put it back without the Ran. Now it's not the pshat, it's not your fault. The pshat is it's not your meister. The issa of chazor is you took it off. Now, the same could be applied to the case that we mentioned with the crock pot went off 12 o'clock a.m. instead of p.m. You didn't close it. So, besides that you have the Ran Shita, you have the Shita of this explained the Zalman's analysis. If you didn't take it off, the fact that it's off base is not enough. You didn't take it off, you're allowed to take it and put it back onto someone else's blech, or again, if it's a crock pot, put it onto your own blech. Now, the B'tzei L'Achoch, with Cheder Dal, Kuf Lamed Zayin, has this very shayla fire went out, and he quotes a told the Shmuel, who lived probably 2 days ago, says, listen, it's off, the fire is off, the fire is off. You can't put it back onto the fire. He writes, I saw Shlomo Zalman is making Shmir Shabbos. I don't think he's right. Because Lamaisa, the food is off the fire. Now, Shlomo Zalman, in the Chashleim, the Tinyanach, Yudbei's Hay, defends his position, and he says, if you put it on the ground, I understand it's us. But here you didn't do anything. There's no hesed chadas. So our shaila, where the fire went out, or the prakah went out, can you pick it up and put it back onto a different fire? Besides the fact that we have the ram to be Seibachan, we have the Zalmans, we saw it, although not all agreed to it, but the Rashi was makel. So again, if someone has no other food Shabbos day, there's definitely a tzad to be makel to put it back. The next question is, let's say there's no neighbor, 12 o'clock, early morning, you can't knock on your neighbor's door. Can you take the shalom from the blech that just went out, the fire's out, and put it into your oven? You keep the oven on over Shabbos. You take it from the blech where there's no fire and put it into your oven. So one thing, what's the shayla? We have the ran, and we have a Zalman sword that you didn't disconnect. Oh, but there's a problem. The first of the preconditions are lacking. Bays. What's bays? Blech. Most ovens don't have blechs. So you can't put it back into the oven if there's no blech. Fakir, let's say the oven malfunctions, and you want to take the food from the oven that's still out and put it onto the blech, which is the fire, that's good. But the point is to put it from the blech to the oven, unless you have a blech in your oven. Now, I just want to mention briefly, if you look at the Ramah and how Rishon Gimel Beis, you can't take it from a fire and put it into the oven. Because the Ramah held that's Mefsik Mavashal because the oven was a much hotter temperature. Rav Gosnechel Gimel Professor Moshe also says this, our ovens are not much different than gas range. They both have good flames. So, gas range and oven is one and the same. We had the following shaila, which happens rather quite often. If you have a balanced blech, and you took off the soup to serve the soup Friday night, and the blech sort of lost its balance, and the shalom pot fell right off the blech onto the countertop. So now your shalom is parked comfortably on the countertop. Now you want to put the shalom back onto the blech. So here we have the ran, because it happened on Shabbos, and you also have you didn't take it off. And if it's essential Shabbos meat, Avad is what to be said not to put it there. I'll tell you, I was just married, the first time we had Shabbos, first time we had guests, and it was often with us who the guest was. And in our house, we had a small apartment then, the chalon was on the gas range and fell into the sink. Right into the sink. That's where it was. The sink was next to the gas range. So I didn't know which dalcha to look up the shayla because we learned yeshiva, we learned yeshiva shebazachtis. So to me, taking from the sink and putting it back on the blech, I didn't see any head. So what I did was I took the chalon, it was Friday night, and I put it in the refrigerator, and we served the next day cold chalon. I can still taste the cold chalon. That's how chilling it was. Of course, my wife was terribly embarrassed, the first Shabbos, the first guest. After Shabbos, I decided I have to look into this. I didn't know where to look, but I ended up finding this ram, Ramah's Mekel. I didn't know about the Ramah, of course. I didn't know about Shem Zalman, but in this case, there would be two ater to be Mekel. You have the ram and Shem Zalman. Now, all you have to do is lift up the chalon, dry the bottom, because there's probably water on it, and put it back. I felt so horrified that I did something wrong. That's when I started learning halacha. That was Shabbos, and I'm still trying. Hopefully one day I'll know something. But it was a lesson, That's not, like the Mizrael once said, if someone is putter from fasting and he fasts, it's nishke fast, it's gemuchit. I wasn't machmer, I was a gemuchit. You have a ram, a ramah, you have a Rabbi Zalman and many others, or Rabbi should also make on that case. So there you have the case that there's no eitzah until you know halacha. And still, there's no excuse for ignorance. Next child, someone, here this is a little more tricky. The child finally decided to help his parents. He's going to serve the soup, took the soup off the fire, proudly puts it on the table, uncovers the cover, and it's a cholent pot. So you have a fully cooked cholent pot that's sitting on the table. And he put it down, and died to Laza, because there are no leftovers in this belly. So let's use our checklist. Is it Bishul to put it back? No, because it's fully cooked. Is it Mexican Bashul? Perhaps. It's on the table. It ain't like the laza. But here, minimally, we have the ram. Because the chalk is on the fire Friday. So if it's that chalk is essential to the Einik Shabbos for tomorrow, if you're having guests, whatever is considered Makom Soyer, you could take the chalk pot, eat those, put down the ain't like the laza, and put it back. The next question is, maybe without the ram, it should be mutter. I'll tell you why. Because you had the child, or whatever, the person had in mind to put down the soup pot. There was no disconnect to this pot. Maybe ain't like the laza soup, but challenge yet. Now the B'tzeila Chachma, and that same tshuva says, has this shot, it says no. But this case that you put it down knowingly, this very pot, it's also the holidays. But I'm not so sure that's right. The Shmisa Shabbos with Yerushalayim, this was a very typical case. They didn't have their own gas ranges. The whole shtetl put the chom in the baker's oven. They had an air, whatever, they carried it, but they kept it in a baker's oven. The Shabbos had a shayla, someone took out someone else's food by mistake and put it down. Then he thought it wasn't his. So he's makel because it was a toyist. The Shmir Shabbos and Aleph Chav Gimel, the Sheikh Kasi, and Gimel Kov Beis, also discuss you took the chom pot instead of the soup pot and you put it down. Ve'ein daitei lachzor, and I would add, the table is like karka, not a countertop. But since there's no disconnect, there's no conscious disconnect, without the ram, you have the ram, and besides you have this far that there was no conscious disconnect, you're allowed to put it back. Now the Maisa, I did find Machmir, I want to mention, in the Chut HaShoni, in Chav Zayin Aleph, and the Mishnah Halachos, in Aleph, Kol Tadiches, they say, listen, putting it down, you put it down. You made a mistake in the identity of the chum, that doesn't change the status of it. Teaching the Ber Moshe, in Chelek Vov, Kuf Gimel had a shayla, that a woman asked him, she had this shayla, she didn't ask shayla, she put it back on the fire. So he said, I wasn't Mako. I told it's awesome. If he cooked, you put something back without asking the Rav shayla. Even though this was to be Mako, I was Machna. It was a real Rav, took the big picture. You don't put back and ask later. But he does allude that it's not to be Mako, I believe, and it's Yenera. It could be this far as well. So the Maisa, in all these cases, I want to mention, anytime when a person has a need, again, the checklist must be looked at carefully. Sometimes you don't have to put it back on the blech. For example, let's say you have on the blech, you have another pot there. You could put the chom on top of the other pot. Al-Gabi Kedera is mutter even without the heter of Hazar. Al-Gabi Kedera is mutter even from the refrigerator, if there's no Bishul. Or you put it on the side of the blech. Not on the blech, on the side of the blech. If there's enough heat to keep the chom warm, and that's mutter, without Tanoye Hazar. That's possible. But I'm talking about a big chom pot, you can't put it on top of another pot, there's no other pot, or let's say it's not going to stay hot. B'shas atchak, we have the ran svar, and we have Hashem Bezalman svar. Someone asked the shayla that he had chom before Shabbos and put it on a small flame. He didn't realize that this flame was quite small. And as the time goes on, it's going to get cooler and cooler, and tomorrow's going to be a cold chom, maybe even spoiled chom. He wanted to take the chom from the small flame, where it was, and after this through the Friday night, and put it onto the vacancy, the bigger flame that he had the soup and the chicken. So to move a fully cooked chom from a small flame to a bigger flame, is there any problem? The answer, I don't know. As long as it's fully cooked, it's still warm, it's not Mexican Bashul flame to flame, which the Bruce refers, even from a smaller one to a bigger one is not a problem. But, so it has to be varm, it has to be edible. Yeah, it has to be, and Mr. Rabbi has to be nechal machmas chami musa. Let me ask you another question. And again, I can tell you probably 10 shows I had just about this group of questions. Someone set up the blech, everything was great, but he made one little mistake. Forgot to put the fire on. So we had the full blech on Shabbos, the food is fully cooked, it's still warm because everything was warm, but there's no fire. And I hour or two from now, it's going to be cold. Or someone put the blech on, and the fire was on, but he put all the pots after he put the blech on. The pots smothered the flame. Okay? Now it's Shabbos, a few minutes after the Zman, and there's a pots of hot food without a fire. What could he do at this point? So this is tricky, because here we don't have the ram. When Shabbos came, there was no fire. But the good news, which I always say is a mitzvah of farsa, to tell B'nai Bayis, it will save a lot of aggravation. As long as it's still bein hashmashos, we call it goy to even do malacha d'oraisa. As long as it's a significant Shabbos need, you call it goy. Amir la'akim is not the bein hashmashos, even to go do malacha d'oraisa. So if the wife's not home alone, you can't call it going to the house with a woman alone. But let's say the husband's home, let him go out, call the local guy, put the fire on, put the crackpot on, put the oven on, whatever is necessary. As long as it's still bein hashmashos, the Tzayir Shabbos will call the guy. So in any case, and this is across the board, whenever you have a shayla bein hashmashos, the women should know, don't wait till the Rav, my paisik, my husband comes home. When he comes home, it's already it's too late. As long as it's bein hashmashos, call the guy, and you would do come out anything as they get with for Shabbos. But the problem is they waited, and now it's vadei line. Someone came to my house once the following Shabbos. He had a crock pot, and it was a very truma. He always had a blech, piece of aluminum foil in between the cholent and the heating element, and the blech stuck out. Mamash no hadin. Right before Shabbos, he decided the aluminum foil called blech is dirty, it's not a covered Shabbos. So he took out the cholent, put a new piece of aluminum foil, put it back, and went to shul. His wife called him emergency, he forgot to put on the crock pot. So he has a hot cholent with a nice new blech, but there's no fire. Someone had the shayla, he put the cholent on the blech and put the fire on. One little problem, he put the cholent on the wrong burner. So the back burner where the fire was on was empty. The front burner, where there was no fire, he put the cholent, and basically, it's now Rabbi Yakov. All these cases, we don't have the ram, because when Shabbos came, there was no fire. And that's why most places are machmir. What's the eitzah? Rashi says, there's also an eitzah v'alz. We're not dial ahead. There's no eitzah, there's no eitzah. There is a tzad to be makel, which I'm Zalman, when I read the places, as a gewaldige chiddush, it's probably a shitasa, an extension of the shitasa. Listen to his chiddush. It is a das yachid, but to make concern that Zalman was Yilin God to be Seifan. In Ma'or HaShabbos Chelik Aleph, on the Tov Tzadik Dalet, someone asked him this very shayla. He set up the blech, everything was fine and boiled, forgot to put the fire on. Rabbi Zalman says, you're allowed to take the food, if it's fully cooked, and it's still warm, that's for sure. It has to be Bishul, no Bishul that is, and put it on a different fire. What's the heter? He says, you didn't put it on Gabi Karka. You were busy making the blech. So there was no disconnect. Now, in the Chelik days of our Shabbos, they asked him, of course there was no disconnect, but there was no connect. There was no fire. You're not connected to a fire. So in a few tshuvas, you'll see, Chelik days, one after the other. Dai Tel Eish, by Mikri Chazara, Gam Hever ala Karka, V'komam Kol Ha'esik L'hamad ala Eish, Hakol Nasa Ach V'rak L'hamad ala Eish. It's better than a kisei. It's all done to make a blech. Evidently what he's saying is, if your intention Erev Shabbos was to make a blech, la'alocha, but you forgot to put the fire on, or the fire went off, whatever it is, there was no disconnect. There's no fire, but he said it's not Gabi, you didn't put on Gabi Karka. The Issa is when you put on Gabi Karka, a conscious disconnect. You did not do that. So this is maybe like Kisei, and Kisei is mutter to the earth. So his point is, if you were trying to make the blech, but you didn't do things properly, you're allowed to move it to someone else's blech. Again, a chiddush pella, and again on the bottom, where Shabbos in the notes, others argue, there's no fire, but this is the Zalman's Yisrael. If you look in Shmir Shabbos, in Aleph Chav Ches, he has the question when the fire went out, when Shabbos came, he says, even though Lamaisa, when Shabbos came, there was no fire, but you didn't close it, you didn't disconnect, you could be made. So again, the chiddush here is that he was never a fire in the first place, but he was made. Now, again, as I told you, most poskim argue, but better would be in this case to call a guy, to put on the fire, but if not, if someone feels that it's a shalom bias issue, or it's a quite a bias issue, now let me leave you with the last group of questions, the delightful part of today's shir. This kind of didn't happen, but it's a good shout to bring out. Imagine a cook walks into a yeshiva in a kitchen Friday night, and they're bachim holding a shalom. So the cook says, "What are you doing? It's for tomorrow." So they say, bachim, it's the reason why being on the mitzvahs, they're not waiting until tomorrow. The cook says, "I'm sure that this is for tomorrow, Suda. You can't put it right back." So one bacha, I guess the same chutzah with this reason, as there's a big lamdan also. He said, "Listen, cook tire, we took it off to finish it off. When we have a shalom, there's not a remaining beam. We were ain't died to lachzor. So we can't put that to the fire anyhow, right? So like we just done. You can enjoy it. Let us enjoy it." Cook says, "Nothing to do. Just put back the shalom. I don't care what the halach is. So who's right?" So first of all, the bachim are wrong, because in the worst scenario, this is oy to the other, right? Maybe it's ain't died to lachzor, but oy to the other. We saw before, which the Guru says, oy to the other, ain't died to lachzor, it's mutter. Number two, later on, it's mutter l'chatchila. But listen to a third possible tzad to be made in this case. Me sam chaleish is my time. Your daite shaloi lachzor, there to the bed. It's not your job. You're not the Bible. Zeichel adava. If you, it happens all the time, if you have mazel, you come to shul Friday night, Shabbos, ready Shabbos, on your stender, on your table, someone left a muktzah item. And there's no other sefer on the stender, just his muktzah. Is the stender muktzah als bosses? So in Shin Testament, Abraham says, no, you have to be a bailam to make bosses. So if you have to be bound to make bosses, maybe you have to be a bailam to make ein daite lachzor. Now, the shaila my own shaila, but the aside is the Hebrew Kiveg. In the new Prince of Kiveg, Reish Nun Gimel C base, this tapakti Ruven shenakol tegei Hashem v'akir v'oy to be other v'oy daite lachzira in mutter b'chazor. Kiveg has mamish this very shaila. But what it says different than what I wanted to say was, first he says, if they put it on the ground, if it's not oy to be other, then avadi is us. Why? Because ground is us, period. But if the word is only out ein daite lachzor, maybe if you're not the Bible, your das is like my blame. But what he says, with different than I wanted to say, what he says, but don't compare this to the case of buses. You have to be a Bible, because by buses, you have to make it a buses to the stender. If you're not the Bible on the stender, then you're not bound to make it a buses. Buses goes out Bibles to make this a tunnel to that. But maybe regarding Hilchos Shabbos, regarding Chazorah, you're in the Bible. If it's off the fire, it's off the fire. So Kivega has this suffix, and he says it's not comparable to buses, but maybe it's mutter because ein other meister davar she'ein Shabbat. Kivega seems to fly by his suffix, but the Bialacha quotes him, the Das Torah seems to quote him, that I'm saying it's enough of a suffix to be makel that you will not have to buy them to make it ain't daite lachzor. Comes again Rav Shach and Rabbi Ezri on Rambam Shabbos Gimel Bachilul, and Rav Shach said, I can't understand Rav Kivei. He says, if you hold that daite shaloi lachzor, that's the leader of the blech, makes it also, then Rav Kivei is right. But it's not true. You know why it's awesome? Because it's off the fire. Once it's off the fire, once it's disconnected, it's awesome. Daite lachzor might connect it, reconnect it. But what's the tzad to asto? What's the ma'aseh is off the fire? Off the fire is you don't have to need Bible. So just like the Rebbe says, on the ground is also no matter what. So even though it's oy to be other, but the issa is off the fire. So the issa is not you had das to keep it off the fire. The issa came off. Your das could have saved it. Maybe then, even if you're not the Bible, it's us. Now here you see Kireg is Mekel, Geolach quotes him, das Teres quotes him, and if Shach is Machne, was versteht the Machlekes? I think it's must be Mash. Kireg understood that the issa of Karka is disconnect. So therefore, it's not, the Daik de Lachse is part of the Maisa issa. If you're not the Bible, you can't disconnect. Rav Shach held like the first side that we said earlier, that the reason why it's us is it's not touching base, it's off the base. Then you don't need, then the das just stays if it doesn't answer. Lamaisa in this case, the Baruch of Zich were wrong for three reasons we have here. The fact that it's Oid Riyadeh, the fact that they have the Ran, and the Kiva would be made. But to me what's interesting is Rav Shlomo Zalman and many places hold, if I take the shalom pot instead of the soup pot and I put it down, I can put it back. Now, at first I didn't understand. Kinega, who's the big maker in this case, he says if you put down someone else's shalom or pot, whatever it is, then it's also even though it's not yours. So what do you see? Once it's on the ground, it's us. So why is it mutter when I took someone else's shalom? The answer is beautiful. If the Baruch took this shalom and they wanted to put down this shalom, that's us. But here I took the wrong shalom, the wrong pot, I'm sorry. I never wanted to put down this pot. Zot Bishul Zalman and Shmir Shabbos, in that case, Taki could be maker. Even Kiva could be maker. If I put down the mason, someone else's shalom, it's also because I put down the mason. I know what I'm doing. But if I took the wrong pot, then the wrong pot would be good. Lamaisa, in this case, there would be a tzad to be makel. What I didn't yet mention, I should mention, let's say in any case we have, is there a heter called a goy to put back the shalom on the fire? Let's say there's no heter, chazar, or you can't do it. Can a goy be asked to put back the shalom on the fire? So you're going to say, Bishul Akum? Well, we're talking about fully cooked, but Bishul Akum. So we would say, well, putting back chazar is only Rabban. So why is it mutter shvus to shvus? Makam tzarech. The Chazedish in Lamed Zayin Chav Aleph says, no, chazar is different. Because chazar is not only also as the Maisa chazar, but the fact that the food's on the fire without a heter. Or als Shem Yechata. So even if the guy put it on, he doesn't take it off. Most places can seem to hold it was put back beheta. You gotta keep it on once the guy put it back. So that would be another 8 to have the guy put back the shalom as long as it's fully cooked. And one last quick shayla. Someone asked me this shayla. He thought he had a hamso. He was in the bungalow and the electricity was interrupted for a few hours. So the shalom was off. Then they put back electricity, and then the shalom started cooking again. Can you use the shalom that was off the fire for many hours, and it cooled off? And now can you use now the fact that it's restarted? So the chayre here, he was off the fire, and it was not warm. But the answer is, and all the places to say this, you didn't take it off the fire. You're not putting it back on the fire. Even the B'tzeilah, Choch, Muzmach, every other shayla, he said, if you didn't touch it, it was off and on, or because of electricity, there's no chazar, it's mutter, I can talk to you.
Shane English, I would like to thank Rabbi Smith for the wonderful shir. Also thank Rabbi Ari Panas for being another today's shir. The Nishmas Aviv, Rabbi Yakov Zev, Rabbi Sacha, the Yotzer is tonight due to Gimel Elul. Also Rabbi Bishul Zilber, Rabbi Fixter, the Nishmas Avim, Rabbi Yakov, Rabbi Bishul, the Yotzer due to Aleph Elul. Rabbi Yosef would also like to do a mazel tov the Shem English for a blaze Steinitz from White's Paint to make Chazan Ador tonight, the Eiv Shalom, the Shotem, the Tzlachas, a bin Aliyah, the Simchas by everybody. A voice at the Shul made an appeal for the electric of the Besmedish, asking everybody to participate, to give out checks to congregation based on for the electric of Besmedish. Also, web forced by the dinner of the Ignish Yitter should participate to Ignish Yitter as well. We're running out to check the Ignish Yitter to sponsorship all over the world for the entire year. Tiskun mitzvahs, aber Chan Kashem Rosik und Shbach und Zakim Yisrael, a figure of Hebrew and Torah mitzvahs. Shenema and Eshofas 20 Yagat Aviyati. It'll be a sequel of the shir in 5 minutes. A short sikkim of the entire shield here in 5 minutes. Kaddish.
that's how we learned today. First and foremost, we saw the Chumrah of Shabbos. We don't spiel this with fire, we don't play with fire. And as we saw that in Chazor and actually Shia also, even the Yisuri, the Rabbanan of Shabbos are very Chomer. So certainly we don't play with fire. When we do something with food and fire on Shabbos, we have to be careful. The 2-point checklist very basically is it Bishul, or is it fully cooked and still warm? Or even if it's not Bishul, is it Merzik in the Bashul? As we saw, even if something is fully cooked, take food from the refrigerator, put it onto the blech, there's no Bishul, that's Merzik in the Bashul. That's the really extreme case of Chazorah, I mean, Shia Hadosha, but it's taking food off the fire and replacing it back on the fire. Chazorah is also, even if it's fully cooked and still warm, it's either Merzik in the Bashul, or some Rishonim say al Shem Yechat. So basically, is it Bishul? No. Is it Merzik? Maybe yes. Why is it mutter to put a kettle or a child back on the flame, or mother serves the child soup, puts back the soup back on the flame? So basically, we saw based on the Gemara, the precondition has to be Oiv B'Yodai, V'Daite Lavzo V'Dramah, and also not Agami Karka. And the way to remember the whole studio is Beis Gimel Dal Hey Vav, has to have a blech. Gimel is gekocht, is fully cooked. Daite Lavzo, it has to be Daite Lavzo, it has to be hand in the hand. And Vav is varmer, has to be still warm. If someone has any time that the food is not fully cooked, it's not minimally T'maichel Ben V'Soy, then this Bishul Deraisa. Not to mention another example, people sometimes leave food in the oven over for Shabbos. They don't use the gas range. Friday night they take out the soup from the oven and close the oven door. If the chol that's really for tomorrow's food is not yet cooked, then there's Bishul. Closing the oven door, tomorrow Bishul, you have the chol. So even though the chol is in the oven and you have a blech in the chol, you have a blech in the oven, but there's Bishul by really closing the oven door. So you have to make sure that there's no Bishul. You lift the cover and you see the chol is not cooked, then don't put back the cover. It's not Merzik in the Bashul, it's real Bishul. But the Ebed, as we said, even though you have das not to put it back, but if it's still Oiv B'Yodai, you'll have to put it back. And perhaps even Fakir. If Lamaisa, you put it on the countertop, it's not Oiv B'Yodai, but it was das to put back, then also you can make on the Shas Adchai. As we mentioned, Karka is Vadei Osa, but countertop is somewhere in between. Countertop is probably like a kisei or mita that's in between. Putting it back in the refrigerator is like karka. Putting onto someone's plate a individual portion, that's ein dai telatza, that's like karka. Dining table depends if it's like karka or it's like mita or kisei. The Shas Adchai, we have the heta of the Ran, a tremendous heta, that if it was once it was on the on the table, once on the fire, onward, you'll have to put back in any situation. If the fire went out, you'll have to transfer it to a different fire, to a neighbor's fire, or from the gas range to the oven. If you have a blech in the oven, if the oven had a problem, you take it from the oven, put it onto the gas range, as long as it has the condition of Beis Gimel Dal Hey Vav. You only have to put it into an oven if there's a blech. Let's not forget that. We had a big cooler if you didn't consciously disconnect the food. If the fire went out on Shabbos, or the food fell off the blech, or someone else took off the food off the blech by mistake. In any case, when you didn't consciously disconnect the food from the fire, although it's not all agreed, but we saw Rabbi Zalman and others seem to hold, if you took it off, you didn't take it off consciously to disconnect it, you could put it back. So in other words, if the fire was extinguished on Shabbos, or the cholent fell off the blech, then you have two reasons to be able to put it back onto a blech, either yours or someone else's. You have the ram, and you also have this additional spar, you didn't take it off. Even if you took off the wrong pot and you put it down knowingly, you're putting down this pot, but you didn't know the contents, you also have two studs to be able to put back the cholent back onto the blech for tomorrow. To move it from a small flame to a bigger flame, as long as the food is cooked, is okay. If you forgot to put on the fire of Shabbos, if the fire went out of Shabbos, most place to mold, then there's no eitzah. You don't have to run, and there was never a blech. But Rabbi Zalman says, since you were busy making the blech, and so eitzah was the blech, even though when Shabbos came there was no fire, you You're allowed to move it to a different fire if the food is fully cooked and still warm. Mitzvah lefarsim, when anything is a shayla ben hashmashos, you could even call a guy to do a malacha deraisa, putting on the fire, putting on the oven, putting on the crock pot, even malacha deraisa, if it's still ben hashmashos, it's a Shabbos. And we left the other with the shayla, the be'egis ha'ora, if someone took someone else's pot, is his das not to put it back, kariveya ta'asa, or ain't it but if the same person put on the ground, he consciously put it, amazed it on the ground, that would be awesome. And if there's a power outage and the power is restored, then there's no shayla chazara because he didn't put it back. The fact that Rabbi did it is immaterial for us.